that is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 86 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam and I'm joined today by Sam.
Hey up.
By John.
Hey guys.
And by Brett.
Hello.
Brett, were you named after Bret the Hitman Hart?
I wish.
I bet your mum had a total thing for Bret the Hitman Hart.
Definitely.
Did you just call him Bret the Hitman Fart?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. How
Fart.
dare you?
Did I say fart? Bret the Hitman
How
Fart.
I
Dare
wouldn't
you?
put it past you, John.
Throw him under the bus early.
Sounds like a character from Viz.
Brett, were you actually christened, like, I don't know, Joshua Jones or something, and then you just like, I love Bret the Hitman so much, I'm going to change my name legally to Brett?
No, afraid
Oh,
not.
come on.
No.
He was actually christened Owen.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final option is, do you only like Bret the Hitman Hart because he's called Brett?
That was the initial reason that I liked him, yes.
Okay, good.
I will be honest.
Good. We got something out of that. So, yes, this is going to be a rewind episode, which is where we go back into the archives to watch a classic pay-per-view or documentary. The last one that we did was Beyond the Mat. We watched that, but usually it's a classic WWE, WCW, ECW, NXT, something like that, a pay-per-view from the past. Last week, we discussed WWE Hell in a Cell. This week, we're discussing WWF King of the Ring 1993. And Brett, you picked it. Why did you pick it?
I picked it because of the recent King of the Ring stuff, and I remember it being great because Bret Hart won.
Yeah.
And I
much the only
remember
reason.
watching it thinking, awesome, yes.
I was going to say,
love
like,
you,
did you
Hitman.
pick this one because, like, it was a card that was populated with 1/3 of it being Bret the Hitman Hart?
It was very Bret
Yeah.
heavy, this.
That was a strong indicator for me.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, let's have a short break and hear a bit of an intro from good old Vince, and then we'll be back with our review.
Welcome to the heartland of America as the World Wrestling Federation presents the first ever King of the Ring extravaganza.
WWF King of the Ring 1993 was held on the 13th of June 1993, and as is tradition, we're going to go around and ask what people are up to. It's an old one, this, so I mean, I just turned 10, so who knows what I was really doing. I think I was just getting into wrestling. John, can you think what you're up to then?
Also 10.
Nice.
I was kind of in and out of wrestling. I don't know how I would have watched wrestling, but I do remember watching bits and pieces around then.
Yeah, I didn't watch any. They were just characters to me at that age. I think we just bought sticker albums and posters and things, and that was about it. What about you, Brett? You were, but what were you, 18, 19?
You bitch. I was 12.
Okay.
I was 12 and I was like, I just finished middle school. It's the summer, about to go to secondary school, so probably terrified of that.
Yeah.
And I was, again, I can't really, apart from seeing it round my nan's because she had Sky Sports, I don't really remember how I watched wrestling, but I did watch quite a lot. And I remember watching this, so...
Was your nan the massive Brett fan? Did she have Brett shades?
Yeah.
Did she used to oil her hair before you turned up for Sunday lunch?
No, but she did have quite a perm at that point in time.
No.
I thought you were going to say she did.
Photos, Brett, photos.
I thought you were going to say she did wear a vest that revealed her nipples, which was going to be
Oh, my days.
Adam, come on.
Come on, Adam.
That's what Brett
Nan
did.
joke.
That
That
is
is too far.
How is that a dad joke?
It's not a dad joke. That's
Nan.
a diss on Brett's
Nan joke.
nan.
Oh, okay. Sam, what about you?
I was graduating college, just after university.
Yeah,
Surprise.
sure. Were you
Kayfabe.
even born?
Were you even born in... Yeah, Sam?
Yeah, I was born.
Okay.
I was 5.
Oh, good
I
for you.
think.
Good, well done, mate.
So you had no idea about wrestling really at that age.
Yeah, I don't really remember what I was doing in '93. I'm sure it involved Rescue Rangers.
Okay, well,
Chip Chip Chandale.
Rescue Rangers.
Chip Chip Chandale.
When there's danger.
God, what a show!
yeah. Wow, singing quite early on in the pod. Right, so hopefully this will help jog your memories of what you're up to, because number one in the UK charts was I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by UB40.
I fucking hate UB40.
Oh, my parents love that song.
Really?
Remember that song?
I don't know. Maybe.
They did play it a lot back then.
I prefer other UB40 songs, but yeah, I don't really like them as a rule.
Oh,
Number one in the
awful.
box office. Does anyone remember this? Because I have absolutely no idea what this film is. The Vanishing.
It rings a bell. Oh, is that?
No.
No.
They made a Jurassic Park reference in
Yes.
this, and I thought maybe that was the number one.
No, The Vanishing is a 1993 American psychological thriller film directed by George Sluizer and starring Jeff Bridges, Keith S. Sutherland, Nancy Travis and Sandra Bullock. It's a remake of Sluizer's 1988 French-Dutch film of the same name.
What if, on the best of days, in the most innocent of places,
Till death do us part.
till death do us part, the one person you loved most suddenly disappeared?
Oh, I've seen the 2019 version with EC3.
Hey, lovely.
Thank you.
Very nice indeed. Okay, so that's what was happening in June 1993. But what was the landscape of wrestling at the time? Brett, please tell us.
I'll tell you. So, obviously, this is nothing I knew of at the time, being 12. But this actually was amidst steroid scandals.
Yeah.
With Vince at risk of going to prison.
In
for,
WWF.
Well, it had a very slimmed down Hulk, didn't it?
Yes, yeah. And so this was, I think, at a time Hulk had been away because of, this whole steroid scandal as well. And so he'd come back. Hopefully everyone had forgotten about the scandal and he could come back thinner and back on it. But so apparently the business was quite bad for WWF at the time.
Mm.
Can I just say that if
Go
that
on.
was a slimmed down Hulk, I don't want to know what a full-sized Hulk looked like.
A lot more jacked. He wasn't as
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so this was really bang in the middle of the changeover from the golden era to the new generation era.
Yeah, it's a weird time, really.
Yeah, and so because of that change, and I think you see it in this this pay-per-view as well. So because you've got you've still got some big guys because Vince can't quite get away from the big guys, and with Hulk coming back, but he started to push your younger, smaller stature guys like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Shawn Michaels, even Tatanka. So. But like I said, he still liked a behemoth, so Yokozuna was champ for most of 1993. He wasn't ready to pull that trigger on the big guys just yet.
I felt like he was champ for a long time, was Yoko.
About as long as a bear hug he would have done.
Yeah, God.
Oh my days.
I mean, let's just give some credit. There were some very talented big guys on this card. Mr. Hughes. What a talent.
Dear. Oh,
I'm
my
so
days.
confused by Mr. Hughes. Like, what is his gimmick? What is he?
He's a little bit like Bad Luck Fale.
He's
But-
very much like Batman. And plus, he wrestled his entire match wearing sunglasses.
I'm
Oh,
okay
he
with it. They
did,
were like the
didn't
Christopher
he?
Daniels
I
style.
quite
They were
like
like
that.
kind of using goggles, really.
Yeah,
Bonkers.
very dangerous, but I quite liked it. I mean, that was literally all he had about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Hogan actually left for a long period soon after this as well.
Yes.
I think he
Yeah.
went to Japan, wrestled, started bitching about the WWF belt being a toy belt compared to the IWGP.
Yeah, he was really bitter. Was like his heart wasn't in it at this time. They said that he just wasn't drawing the numbers that he used to, and obviously he had a massively high salary.
Yeah.
And also he was being a bit of a dick, wasn't he, in terms of not wanting to drop the belt to the best
Hogan?
face in the company.
Really?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they wanted to put the belt on Hart, but Hogan wasn't having any of that.
I've got to be honest, after watching this did send me down a bit of a Hogan hole.
Oh dear.
Where I was on his Wikipedia page and then looking up his exploits in WCW and the fall there. It doesn't get better for him.
No.
Then TNA, sorry. The fall there.
As Brett said, he was gone for 9 years after this. And in fact, the next night, he wasn't officially mentioned again until 1998. So he's just deleted. Such a huge star, was just deleted. And it wasn't the first time he'd get deleted from WWE.
No, not at all.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so yeah, it was a bit of a changeover period, wasn't it? And obviously lots of drama with the steroid stuff happening, as we said. But since 1988, just to give a bit more background on this pay-per-view or the event King of the Ring, since 1988, WWF had pretty much just run the 4 major pay-per-views. Obviously still the 4 major ones: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series and SummerSlam. But this was kind of their attempt to add a 5th one in King of the Ring. It was the first ever King of the Ring pay-per-view, although the tournament had been held annually from 1985 and continued up until 2002, with the exception of 1990 and 1992. From 93 to 2002, it was a pay-per-view, and it has come back just as a tournament sporadically since 2006. Obviously the most recent one with King Corbin being crowned the greatest wrestler of all time. I think that's what it means, isn't it, Brett?
I mean, from Bret Hart to King Corbin.
I know.
It shows the status of that crown.
Only time will truly tell for that, Brett. In 5 years' time, we'll be looking back and like, Corbin was such a great king.
Exactly. I mean, we can't say that won't happen. So
redefined it.
Nobody knows the future.
Yeah. I also forgot Raw started. Monday Night Raw started in 93.
Because I've actually watched this relatively recently because I started going back from the first Raw and working my way through all the Raws and pay-per-views in sequence.
Wow.
What the fuck? Did you just casually drop that you've been watching all wrestling ever?
I have not got very far because when I put this on to watch it for this, it was halfway through and like, I completely forgot I was doing that thing where I started watching all the Raws and pay-per-views and I only got halfway through this and stopped.
Oh, wow, that's mad. So how many episodes of Raw had you managed to watch?
Was it every week? Every month? I don't know. A lot.
Okay.
Wow. Where has that time come from?
Yeah. It's usually something just to have in the background while you're doing something else, you know?
Yeah.
What
match stopped you watching?
Yeah.
Was it Luger and Tatanka, or was it
that match sucked,
was it Yoko and
why are they doing a time draw with Tatanka and bloody Lex Luger? Ugh.
Hey, they were both undefeated, okay? They had records to
well, that was the weird thing with Raw, the first sort of 6 months of Raw. Tatanka was hot.
He was. I was a big fan, but again, it was just because of the character.
Tatanka is offensive, right?
Well,
is he?
Not
he's actually Native American, though, isn't he?
He is a Native American.
Yeah, he's not as offensive as Yokozuna.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to all this, guys. We're going to get to all of this.
It's a sliding scale with WWE, you know?
So, the venue for King of the Ring 1993 was the brilliantly named WSY Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio.
Do you reckon that was named after a public vote or something like that?
I'm going to tell you exactly the history of this venue because that's what I like to do on the Rewind episodes. There was an attendance of 6,500 for this event.
It looked a lot more than that. It looked loads.
Yeah, it did look loads.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't remember which Rewind it was that I started looking deeply into the venues, but I can tell you now that the Wright State University Nutter Center was originally named the Irvin J. Nutter Center, but it is more commonly named just the Nutter Center.
Not the Nut House.
No. It's such a terrible name. Construction started in 1988 after local businessman and inventor Irvin J. Nutter donated $1.5 million to Wright State University.
Is Irvin J. Nutter related to Irwin R. Shyster?
No, it just sounds slightly similar.
Yeah.
That's not how relations work.
Based on those different names.
Yeah.
Don't correct me.
The Nutter Center is currently home to the Wright State Raiders, which is a men's college basketball team. The head coach is called Scott Nagy, and they have an admin assistant called Nick Nagy, which I think there's something a bit fishy going there.
How deep did you go? Admin assistant? Were you going from
well,
LinkedIn,
what I mean
seeing who works for the company?
Nick is clearly related to Scott, and he's clearly got that job as an admin assistant. I mean, admin
So
assistant
he's the
is like
Nick
the most
Nagy
basic.
of the nut. Oh, I can't even say it. The Nick Nagy of the Nutters.
Yeah, Nick Nagy of the
Okay.
Nutters. But the only reason I really brought up the current coaching staff of the Wright State Raiders is
How
because
deep is this going?
they have a director of operations, and in Wikipedia he is listed as Nick the Dreamboat Goff.
Wow.
So I
Great
think we all
name.
want to know a bit more about him. But
And
anyway,
there's our NCAA college basketball podcast done.
yeah, we're all Wright State Raiders fans now. I want to get a shirt. I want to go to the Nutter Centre. But the Nutter Centre has also been home to the Dayton Wings, the Dayton Bombers, the Dayton Warbirds, and the Dayton Bulldogs from various different sports. But the King of the Ring was actually the first wrestling event to take place there. But since then, it's held WWE versus ECW head-to-head special in 2006. Followed by a load of Raws and a load of SmackDowns. And eventually, John, you'll get to see the Nutter Centre again. When Raw returns there. And most recently, SmackDown in March of this year was held there. And it was the SmackDown where the New Day were banging down Vince's door, and Vince finally gave Kofi an opportunity to gain a title shot by setting up
in that weird office he was in,
Yeah.
which is just a massive room with a sofa.
So basically, he agreed to
Wow.
set up the gauntlet match for the following week. The match he, of course, went on to win before facing Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Adam, that was the deepest dive of
Yeah.
research you've ever done into anything, and I'm really impressed.
I'm on page 1 of 4. No, I'm not. I mean, I was going to say, what did you make of the venue? But it's not really much. It's just a big arena.
I have a piece of trivia about the venue,
No.
if I may. They were calling it the Heartland of America the whole time, rather than Dayton, Ohio, because apparently WWF thought people wouldn't know where Dayton was.
Okay.
Apparently, according to What Culture Wrestling, who is the frequent contributor to this podcast.
No, it's all comes from your brain. It all comes from your brain, Sam. It's all your knowledge. The comms team was Jim Ross, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Macho Man Randy Savage. I was so happy when I saw Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
What a team. I think Jim Ross had only just joined the company at this point as well.
Ah, such a high voice.
He had, having left WCW because of Eric Bischoff.
Wasn't that weird? Because we'd watched the 92 Wrestle War. Was it Wrestle War we watched?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which had Jim Ross in it. And I was like, oh, wow, that must have been a quite recent acquisition.
Well, Vince was only on this because... Vince wasn't on it at all. Jim Ross was only on it because Vince was busy getting indicted.
Really?
By the federal government. Apparently so, anyway. Which makes sense with the timeline. But anyway, the card... John, usually I'd get you to read the whole card, but Vince is going to come back again because he did feature on the pay-per-view even though he wasn't doing commentary, and he's going to tell us the lineup for the opening round matchups for the King of the Ring tournament.
Wicked.
Tonight, 8 of the toughest superstars of the WWF will bang heads in a grueling single elimination tournament to determine once and for all who is the King of the Ring. In opening round matchups, former WWF champion Hitman Bret Hart will square off against his old nemesis, Ruthless Razor Ramon. Pure perfection meets pure power as Mr. Perfect takes on the sinister Mr. Hughes. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will butt heads with the massive beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow. The undefeated Native American Tatanka grapples with the narcissist Lex Luger. Who will survive this grueling test of strength and endurance? Who will be crowned the WWF King of the Ring?
Okay, thanks, Vince. Okay, so there was only one semi-final match because Luger and Tatanka ended in a time-limit draw, so they were both eliminated, which means Bam Bam got a bye through to the final. So the one semi-final match was Brett versus Mr. Perfect. Then there was Yokozuna versus Hulk Hogan for the championship. Had a tag match which was Smoking Guns and the Steiner Brothers versus the Head Shrinkers and Money Incorporated. Then there was an Intercontinental Championship match between Shawn Michaels and Crush, and the final of King of the Ring, which was Bret Hart versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah. And I really liked how the first round of the tournament was a 15-minute time limit, then 30-minute for the semis, and then 60 for the final. I just love tournaments.
Yeah.
It's rough though when they're in one night, though, I think.
Oh, I think it's great when they're in one night. Rough for the wrestlers that get all the
Yeah.
way through.
And that was like the whole story of the pay-per-view, wasn't it?
But yeah, I think that's what adds to it, is like how
Brett's
they get
journey.
through.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, we're going to split the podcast into categories. So it's slightly different from our normal pay-per-view reviews. We're going to talk about what we thought was the best match first. We're each going to pick out our worst match. Then we're going to talk about a standout moment. So if there's any particular moment that sort of had us on the edge of our seats, we're going to talk about a what the fuck moment. So something that made us say what the fuck, and not in a good way. It tends to be something sexist or racist, and I wonder if that's still going to be the case. We're going to pick an MVP, so star performer, and we're going to discuss what we learnt, and then we're going to give it a rating. So first up is the best match, and I got a sneaky suspicion we're all going to pick the same one. So why not ask Brett first? You picked the pay-per-view. What was your favourite match?
Well, if you look at the card, it was always going to be the Hitman versus Mr. Perfect for me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Two great wrestlers, two of the best sellers, and I actually think this pay-per-view had three of the best sellers in wrestling.
Oh, Brett in his first match, Brett in his second match, and Brett in his third match.
No, I'll add Shawn Michaels to that.
Okay.
Especially, I think it's showed in this pay-per-view, like, those guys are top stars because of how well they sell. Not just in, like, what they do, but, like, it really makes everything so much more.
Yeah, agreed.
And this match was, it was just great. I loved it. All the side headlock takedowns.
I think kind of the performers on this card, Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect's wrestling is the kind of wrestling that's aged really well. Like, you could still see them doing those same moves in today's wrestling and still getting over with crowds.
Silky and smooth, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And it had pace to it, which so many of the other matches didn't have. They're just so slow and plodding.
Like, they know how to slow it down and then to pick it back up again.
Yeah,
like at the right point. So like they're not sort of, those guys are never 100 mile an hour throughout the whole thing. Wrestlers, they do slow it down, but I think, like you say, it's because they're so good and it's so smooth. Everything they do, that it, like, the motion carries throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm convinced that Mr. Perfect might be Kurt Angle in disguise.
I thought you were going to say might be Kurt Hennig then, and I was like, mate, there's something to tell you.
I'm just saying, just keep an eye on it. If you were to take Kurt Angle and give him Dolph Ziggler's hair, Mr. Perfect.
How do you get hair like that, though?
I don't know, but I think it involves spaghetti.
It's weird. It looks like wet but crispy at the same time.
Well, that's exactly the hair I used to have when I was from the ages of 12 to 15. It was wet look gel.
Wet look gel, yeah.
That crispy hair.
No way.
Guys, there's nothing more satisfying than being on the bus home from school and sort of crunching the gel out of your hair. Like, that's another day of looking slick done. I can.
Did you actually have like ringlet, perm?
No, I had curtains.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think this might have to be like an old photo day for next week or something. Where get to see everyone's old
That'd be good for a podcast.
Frosted tips.
Cool.
This was a great match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed Bret Hart's kind of suplex counter out of the ring. That just looked so painful at the point in the match.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I love Mr. Perfect's knee lift. Like, where they're over and he like strikes a knee up and it sends, because they sell great, it sends them to the mat. Just looks great.
Yeah. Mr. Perfect was selling his legs so well throughout this match.
Yeah.
He never missed it limping. Always limping. It was...
And also, like with Mr. Perfect, and this is an outfit thing, when they have that, like, I forgotten what they call them now, singlet.
Yeah.
Like, he starts off with it, fully on, and then, like, throughout the match, there's a moment and one shoulder comes off. I don't think both shoulders came off in this one, but often, then both shoulders come off and it's just around the waist.
Options.
It's like, it's like throughout the match, he like, devolves with his costume.
Yeah.
Battle damage.
Yeah.
As a kid, I don't really remember Mr. Perfect at all. He never really sort of stuck with me. Just because as a kid, you kind of, after the big characters and crazy personalities.
Oh, really?
But now, God, just watching a Mr. Perfect match is an absolute pleasure.
I remember when I was a kid, and when I saw Mr. Perfect, it was always jobbing to Hogan or The Undertaker.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
I remember Mr. Perfect was supposed to be very good. And I had a massive Mr. Perfect magazine, which was basically a poster on the wall, which was basically the WWF magazine. But it wasn't, you could like unfold it to get a certain size poster, maybe like A3, and then you could unfold it again to get A2. And I had an A2 Mr. Perfect oiled up on my wall.
Nice.
It's quite a bizarre thing to have in many ways. But I thought what I liked about this match is I made quite a lot of notes on this match, whereas on all of the others, it was just, like I said, plodding and slow and the same stuff and nothing happening. But this had a narrative, had the fact, like towards the end when Brett goes for the sharpshooter and then Mr. Perfect targets the fingers. That was perfect. And then Hart blocked the perfect plex and a perfect press, and all that kind of stuff. It was just really, really, really good.
I think kind of this match kind of just personifies how excellent both Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect were. They were such good opponents for each other to really kind of exemplify each other's styles, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what was going on at the start of the match when all of the crowd were looking over to the left-hand side?
No.
Did you also? I couldn't tell, and I couldn't tell because of the hair whether it was a man or a woman. But like the match had started, and there was someone in a Bret Hart shirt, like Bret Hart all over it, and they were looking the other way, holding a beer, and it was like, you're wearing a Bret Hart shirt. The guy you want to watch is wrestling Mr. Perfect right now. Like
Plastic fan.
Turn around.
They were all looking over there, and there was a bit where the camera kind of looked in that direction for a bit and actually paused it, and I was trying to work out what was going on. Maybe somebody was getting chucked out or something like that.
Maybe it was the guy dressed as Hulk Hogan.
That was impressive.
Yeah, it's not the same guy you see at NXT, is it? It can't
on
be.
his own, dressed as Hogan.
He had the kick pads, the knee pads, everything, didn't he?
I actually thought that was Hulkster at first. I was a bit like, that's a weird thing.
He really has lost weight.
What do you think? That match took a lot out of me. I took my hat off. I took my glasses off. Thumbs up to Mr. Perfect and the Hitman, and congratulations to both of them.
Weasel, have you ever seen a more intensely competitive match than that?
Who did you refer to me as?
Weasel.
I know you're not talking to me, are you?
Yeah, so all agreed then that Mr. Perfect versus Bret the Hitman Hart was the best match, the semi-final of the King of the Ring.
No. Sam disagrees.
Oh, I thought we were. I thought you sort of...
No, I think
yes.
Mr. Perfect Bret Hart is a brilliant match. The second match on this card behind Bret Hart Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, that's the final.
The final. Okay. Why?
I love Bam Bam Bigelow. I'm a big fan of his kind of wrestling. I just think kind of, if you look past all the rest hold bear hugs.
Yeah, that's a big look past, because that one lasted ages as well.
It did. I'm not going to lie.
The diving headbutt, you're a fan of that?
I like the diving headbutt. I like the kind of the heel wrestling. I don't know, man. I'm really a big fan of Bam Bam's wrestling. And kind of the weak chair shot from Luna as well was a bit
That was
fun
the
as well.
worst chair shot I've ever seen. She like
It was
brushed him
pretty
on the
awful.
back.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
terrible.
enjoyable nonetheless. I don't know. I just thought this match was really good. Kind of like big guy, small guy match.
I did like the dusty finish. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, me too.
That must have been incredible at the time to be there live or watching it on pay-per-view. The drama of basically Bam Bam winning and then the refs obviously coming together and saying no and the match continuing. So good.
Isn't it funny though? Like kind of when we watch wrestling now, we're a little bit like, for fuck's sake, all these dusty finishes. How hard is it to go to the old school and just have a straight up winner and loser? And then you watch a match from '93 and this happens.
Yeah.
The final of King of the Ring as well. There's nothing sacred, WWF.
I love the fact that in this match, when it was made apparent that it had been going for 15 minutes, JR called it a grueling marathon.
For Bam Bam, it probably was.
Well, very true. But yeah, it was just the ultimate. I mean, no one is better as an underdog, or like the baby face sympathetic heel as not heel. God, what am I saying? Face. Than Bret. Like the story throughout, it paid off beautifully in this final.
And he some of his best matches, he takes a beating for ages.
Yeah,
like he allows the other guy to come off looking strong.
Yeah, I think kind of what I liked about this match over the Mr. Perfect ones, I feel like kind of Bret kind of pulled out a lot more of his high flying moveset, high flying by the '93 kind of version of it, but still, like you're seeing the scatters and like the victory roll and stuff like that. It's pretty good to watch in a match that's like 25 years old.
That finishing pin, that victory roll up. was sweet.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I love the fact that, and he did it in the match against Mr. Perfect as well, and it was sort of good for the narrative. It wasn't just playing the hit. It's not like these days when you get the guy, the main star, like, jumps up, hits his finisher, and then celebrates, sort of pretending or forgetting that all the bad stuff that happened.
Well, he didn't use he didn't win with a sharpshooter in any of these matches.
No. I liked when he tried to put it onto Bam Bam and his legs were just too big and Bam Bam powered out. And it wasn't like powered out as in like, he just can't do it. It was powered out as in, he's too big and strong. It was great storytelling for me.
Yeah. It was a lovely payoff to the whole event and the whole tournament, and great moment obviously for Bret.
You deserve it, Bret the Hitman Hart.
I proclaim ye Bret the Hitman Hart, the king of the ring.
Oh, yeah!
I just think Bam Bam, his offense is just too slow for me to
compare to
Mr. The Perfect match.
Yeah.
I think kind of like he brought something a bit different. Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart is kind of is an equally great match in my opinion, but like I really did enjoy Bam Bam versus Bret.
Yeah, I respect anyone that has a tattoo on their skull. And then decided to follow that up by wearing matching wrestling gear. Like, I know I've got flames on my head, but I also want them on my unitard thing. Can we make that happen somehow?
That's so like Pete Dunne with the bear on his knee and the bear on his singlets. It's a good look. Cool.
Yeah.
While we're being positive, what about the first round? Like, because obviously we know there was only one semi-final with Bret versus Mr. Perfect. We talked about that. We talked about the final. The first round, the quarter final. Any standout matches? Because
Bret versus Razor was really good. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Okay, let's talk another Bret match.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Like, he's easily the stand-up performer. This pay-per-view is all about him, and every match he had was really good.
Yeah.
So we all know who our MVP is going to be for this one.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And none of the other matches really were that good in the tournament. And I wasn't expecting them all to be that subpar, apart from Bret's matches.
I know everyone's, like you guys said earlier, it wasn't a good match.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say because I agree with you here.
I enjoyed Lex Luger to Tatanka.
All right, cool.
God,
I enjoyed Lex Luger
because
to
it was
Tatanka.
different. It was different. We had all the posing in the mirror. That was great. And we had the elbow pad stuff. That's great. We had the hot start. Like, we haven't had a hot start in any match. Luger's a lot of fun to watch, I think.
Oh, I hate
Let's be
Luger.
honest here.
Right.
Yeah. Come on,
They
Sam.
didn't want to put over Luger or Tatanka. Like, they didn't want to make either of them look weak. And for once, WWE didn't go to let's disqualify one of them or let's have someone pop out from underneath the ring and tear them down or whatever.
Yeah.
It went to a time limit draw, which, you know what, going further onto the pod what can we learn from this? Bring back draws.
Yeah, it didn't really work out for them with Luger though, did it?
No.
So,
No.
but I understand the time limit draw. Like, I just thought in this tournament, and then Bam Bam just getting a bye to the end, I was just like, felt so let down.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, kind of, it's not a time to be doing a draw.
No.
It was a weird finish, wasn't it? With like the kind of let us fight for 5 more minutes. The crowd went nuts.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do it. And
I thought they were going to do it because I thought surely they can't eliminate them both.
I was desperately looking for my fast forward button. Like, can we skip the next 5 minutes?
No, I strangely quite enjoyed it, but I imagine at the time I may well have not. But it's a lot of the time with these pay-per-views and the rewinds we do, it's the novelty factor, isn't it? It's like, this guy was awful. This is so great to watch him again. But if you have to watch him every week, it's a different story.
I'm with you, Adam. I thought this match was all right.
Cool. John, did you mention anything else from the first round? Or
I actually quite liked Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna.
Well, that's not in the first round, so you're not allowed to talk about that.
Okay,
And also, I cannot fucking believe this.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, let's go to worst match. Because Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna is by far and away my worst match. But John, try and defend
Bam Bam versus Jim Duggan.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're not even talking Mr. Hughes and Mr. Perfect then.
No.
No, because Mr. Perfect made Mr. Hughes look good.
Oh, no. I mean, at small moments he made him look good. At other moments he looked totally awful because he botched so many elements in this match.
It's because he's wearing bloody sunglasses inside.
Style it out.
I guess in terms of what the match should be, it's a title match, It's got. I mean, okay, we know Hulk Hogan isn't the best wrestler ever, but it's got Hulk Hogan in. There are good Hulk Hogan matches out there, and it was just awful. I thought it was so bad.
It was a 40-year-old man against a 40-stone man. It wasn't good.
Right here in Dayton, Ohio, the heartland of America. There's no water around us. There will be no sneak attack. I've got Yokozuna right in the center of the ring, brother. And the power of the Hulkamaniacs, the power of the little Hulksters. This is where Hulk Hogan's power lies, brother. All the training, all the prayers, all the vitamins. 5 times a WWF champion. I will remain that way, Mean Gene, after I test the power of Fuji's Yokozuna.
I thought the ending was really good as well, where Yoko hit that belly to belly, and then Hulk was like flopping around on the canvas like a fish out of water. And then he did the hulking up bit.
Oh, well, and then there was an exploding camera, and then it wasn't even an angle. It wasn't even an angle. I was like, who is that? Is that Mr. Fuji's brother?
That was purely
Harvey Whippleman.
Part of the other Hulk Hogan stuff, because he wouldn't lose to Yoko clean. So he would drop the belt, but he wouldn't do it clean. So like that, they threw that in obviously to appease Hulk.
This is one of those things where, like, you know how like I say Bret Hart as wrestling and Mr. Perfect wrestling has aged really well. I think kind of like with the benefit of hindsight and knowing what Hulk Hogan kind of was like, this is, not good watching in my opinion.
Hey, I'm not saying it's the best match on the card. I'm saying if you take all the Bret matches out, I quite enjoyed it. That's all.
Well, you're allowed to enjoy it.
Especially when, like, I don't like Hulk Hogan, but when his music hit, I did get excited.
I mean, he's got great music, but what part of the bear hug was your favourite?
Oh my days.
I timed it. 2 minutes, 48 seconds.
Forgotten move, the bear hug. I don't think we need more of it in modern day wrestling.
Well, I'll tell you my favourite moment, when he started like shaking his hips, and obviously they're like crotch to crotch, and I was like, oh my days, what is this? What am I watching? And he's all like, oiled up. It's just, oh dear.
Also, kind of going back to the offensive side of things, I don't think it's okay to call people Orientals. Is that? I'm assuming that's not okay.
No, it is.
Oh my God.
No,
but
absolutely
some of
not.
those, terms change as time goes on, and it wasn't. I don't think that was offensive then. I mean, obviously, they pushed the boundaries of what was offensive, but I don't think that was generally considered an offensive term.
Okay.
There were some worrying comments
afterwards.
during this match, and also the Tonka match as well. It was like, oof, I don't think you can say this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Yokozuna, he was Samoan.
Yeah.
And he didn't look Japanese, apart from the fact that he was dressed as a sumo wrestler. And it wasn't like they were like alluding to the fact that he might be Japanese. Like the whole celebration thing afterwards with
with all the camera guys.
Yeah, I like
that. And the backstage stuff and the music, and they're pushing that Japanese angle hard. They're like, everybody in Japan's going to be celebrating this. It's going to be front page. If anything's going to be front page, it's going to be like fake Japanese man wins fake belt.
The world. Yeah, but this is back in the world of kayfabe. People probably didn't realise he was Samoan.
Well, I was going to say, most Japanese people knew he wasn't Japanese.
Really? I don't know.
Well, I'd imagine so. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Let's not get into that. Yokozuna, who of course died at the age of 34 in a Liverpool hotel room.
Most of these wrestlers died around about 34.
There's a lot of deaths on this. No.
How old are you, Sam?
Close. I'm close.
Getting close.
Close to the end game.
Is Harvey Whippleman still alive?
Don't know.
Maybe. Obviously, Bam's dead.
One thing during this match is...
Whippleman's still alive.
Hey, good for him. Well done.
Whippleman update. Good stuff. Hulk Hogan's big boots, the softest big boots I've ever seen.
When he was comfortable.
It was just shit. Like these days, you get matches that are stiff. This was flaccid. It was the most flaccid match I've ever seen.
Even Yoko like bouncing off the ropes. Like the ropes just did not give him any momentum, did they?
No.
Like they just gave, and so when he came back in for, like, maybe it was more Yoko's lack of any momentum that made the big boots look crap.
It was like he was like giving him a little pat on the shoulder with his foot.
Yoko did not defeat Hulk Hogan. Yoko defeated the golden era of wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was the end.
Well, he defeated him with a leg drop, which is bonkers. Like he beat Hulk with Hulk's own move.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be a classic wrestling match with the people involved, but it was worse than I expected. It really was. Sam, have you said what your worst match is?
Oh, I mean, I didn't really concentrate on the Smoking Gun and Steiners versus the Head Shrinkers and Money Inc.
That was rubbish.
Sort of was.
Steiner didn't even. Was it Rick Steiner?
Rick didn't even get
in the match.
Did he not?
And I was
He
excited.
tagged in. It was over before he.
He had his promo, didn't he, earlier on in the night, and that was it.
It's a shame though, because the Steiners are bloody amazing, like the stiffest tag team of all time.
I was thinking that might have been a good match.
Yeah, I was excited.
Of everyone that was in it, and I just
the Head
thought,
Shrinkers.
I thought this is going to, but it was over so quickly.
See, like the only reason I would ever watch this is just kind of I want to pinpoint the exact time when Scott Steiner evolved, metamorphosized, became Big Papa Pump.
Yeah, I don't know. Must have been in the 90s, right? Late 90s?
I think he must have been when he joined WC Dubs. But if we can pin down the point when he just becomes insanely jacked, that would be grand.
Which is mental though, because he's massively jacked in this.
I know. It's like a Charmeleon turning into a Charizard. It's so exciting.
God.
Pokemon, eh?
Any other matches we want to touch upon? What do we think of the Intercontinental Championship match? I like Crush. He was better than I remembered him being.
I thought he was pretty all right here.
Really?
Oh, really? I thought.
Or do you think it was Sean selling?
I thought it was Sean. I thought.
He had a good drop kick on him.
Sean, I didn't even think the drop kick looked good.
What about the Doink the Clowns?
Now
that was weird.
That was
wasn't
fun.
That was interesting.
Oh, do you want to know a little fact? Obviously, they had qualifier matches for King of the Ring. To get qualified for this, Mr. Perfect had 3 matches against Doink, 2 of which were timed draws, and he beat him in the 3rd one.
He had 2 time draws with Doink the Clown.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Is that like having a time draw with Toriano?
It must be. I bet it's way worse than that.
Yeah, way worse. It must be way worse. Oh dear. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm sure we'll get to touch on some of the other matches in these other categories. So we've done best match, we've done worst match. Standout moment. So if there was a moment that had you on the edge of your seat, gave you goosebumps, something like that. I don't think there was anything for me. Apart from like the entirety of the Brett Mr. Perfect match, which I really did love, there wasn't like a key moment which was just like, yes, this is iconic.
Again, I refer you to Luna's chair shot.
No, well, not in a good way anyway. John, got anything?
Well, you know that Steiner brother promo?
Yeah.
Right, obviously you've got Scott Steiner delivering his lines. He doesn't take a pause in between any word. It's all just mumbled at one tone. Completely dead eyes, like he's a serial killer and he's just thinking about how to dispose of the corpses in his basement.
He really would.
It's terrifying. And then you've got like Rick jumping in, sort of really loud, weird energy.
Yeah, because everyone was quite like a lower tone and just talking, weren't they? And then Rick was like...
just absolutely bonkers, like off his face.
He was like, I'm not getting in the ring and I've got all this fucking energy, so I'm going to use it now in my promo.
Wasn't just the takeaway from the last old pay-per-view was bring more coke back into wrestling?
It's just such a weird dynamic between the two. It felt really jarring, off-putting.
Yeah. They remind me of the McBoyle brothers from Always Sunny.
Oh my God, definitely, yeah. If you whack a load of steroids in the McBoyles.
Brett, your standout moment was obviously Brett, the Hitman winning, getting his crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
That was amazing. Just before bloody Jerry, the King Lawler, comes and ruins the day.
Yeah, that was a real... well, I don't know. Do you think he did a good job, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, he came over as a heel, didn't he?
Yeah. He's always been good at being a heel.
It's very easy to not like.
Yeah, I think they had a feud for going on for a couple of years after this.
Really? I don't remember them ever wrestling, weirdly.
Apparently it went on for 2 years and it ended up with a little-known wrestler, Isaac Yankum, debuting.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. Okay, so that is our standout moments. What about what the fuck moment? So, again, something that just wasn't good. Something that shocked us to our cause. Brett, got anything?
Well, I guess not so much what happened in this, but the fact that Mr. Hughes was in this King of the Ring tournament instead of The Undertaker, and that he beat The Undertaker through cheating to get into it.
Yeah.
This could have had The Undertaker in it as well, but no.
Yeah, but Brett, he earned his spot.
Oh. And he was so bad. Like, why
He
did
was so bad.
Why, like, I mean, I guess he is also in his entirety the what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
I mean, and I won't be able to name names, but over the years, WWE has put plenty of, you know, real non-wrestlers in a wrestling ring, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
It's not like they would do that in Saudi Arabia.
Well, at least they have some intrigue
change.
behind those matches, but I'm kind
Is
of...
there?
Yes.
From who?
Me? I want to see Tyson Fury.
You
versus
really want
Braun
to see
Strowman.
Tyson
I'm not
Fury.
suggesting it's going to be good. I know it'll
it's
probably
gonna
be a
be
car
so
crash,
bad.
but like we like watching this stuff sometimes. If this was
We
on...
don't use we. We don't.
That's the royal we right there.
Don't bring us into your...
Okay, let me try and think of someone that isn't a wrestler that you would be intrigued to see. Oh God! I mean, how did you feel about Dave Benson Phillips at Riptide? You hated it, didn't you? Actually,
I was really nervous beforehand, but I actually quite enjoyed it at the time.
you see.
Yeah, but they have a comedy match.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, I can't think of another example. Chris Eubank, what if he turned up?
Oh, that'd be
a
so
comedy
cringy. My anxiety would go through the roof.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
I
what was
enjoyed
gonna
Stephen
happen.
Amell versus Christopher Daniels at All In.
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
that was all right. I'd agree with that. Okay, but yeah, Mr. Hughes is pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can agree with that. Did you have a what the fuck moment, Sam?
No, not really. I thought it was kind of all pretty middle of the road, to be honest.
What about when JR referred to IRS as perhaps one of the greatest tag team wrestlers in the history of tag team wrestling?
He did.
He did.
He's
Yeah.
in the conversation, right?
It was
But it's
during
'cause-
that match. I was like, hold on. I actually rewound. I was like, who's he talking about? IRS.
But then he went on to say he's like, did he say he'd won the championship with 3 different partners?
Yes. I think that had happened fairly recently, so that's why it was quite a big deal.
Yeah.
But he's not remembered as one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, is he?
No,
he's remembered as a tax collector. You know what I am doing? So I ended up going onto Mr. Hughes' Wikipedia page after our conversation. It turns out Mr. Hughes actually was a wrestler. Like
He was.
He's not quite in the same league as your Tyson Furies and Stephen Amell's. But he's so
Well,
bad
he
at
is in
it
the fact that
we
he can't wrestle.
Well, yeah. I think that's the beauty of it, is that he did spend an entire career trying to.
Yeah.
I think
and
he
also,
was Jericho's bodyguard at one point.
and Sam, are you just spending your whole evening on Wikipedia?
I'm trying to do what you did with the arena.
Well, I did that in advance, and actually, it was just knowledge of arenas I have around.
You know what?
I
You're
never
right,
check.
don't know.
I never get anything from Wikipedia. No, sorry.
I'm just really entertained by it. Sorry.
Good. No, it's good.
Continue.
Right. So, any other what the fuck moments? John, did you have one?
Actually, leading on from Brett's one, before that Mr. Hughes match, they showed a clip of Superstars, and it had in the ring Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez, Harvey Winkleman, Tatanka, and Mr. Hughes, and it just looked like the most mental episode of Superstars that has ever been filmed.
That was funny. What about the hair on show? In the mullet match, Crush.
Oh my god, Crush's mullet.
Crush
Oh,
versus
wait,
Shawn Michaels was the mullet match. It was insane.
Such a bad mullet.
one of the refs as well had.
I guess.
awful
yeah.
mullet.
I guess in a way, Crush has the best mullet because it is so bad.
Yeah. What was
And,
funny is seeing.
there's only a bad mullet, so having the worst one must be the best.
Yeah. There's just so much 90s fashion on show, obviously, because it was the 90s, but so many looks that you sort of see around these days. Like the
I
glasses,
think Earl
the big
Hebner
glasses.
stopped aging.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that made it get recalled, wasn't he, in the final? Yeah.
He doesn't look a day over 60. Not then, not
he
now.
looks pretty good. He does look pretty good.
Yeah, weird.
Actually, he doesn't look great now.
Okay, moving on from what the fuck. MVP is our standout performer. 4 votes for Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
Easy. Okay, next up, what did we learn? What could modern day wrestling take from this pay-per-view? I'll go first. WWE just need to bring back tournament pay-per-views. Obviously, we've had King of the Ring recently and everybody enjoyed that. But why not have a whole pay-per-view dedicated to having a one-day tournament? Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
There's so much more like story through the actual matches that can be told. And like, you know, like imagine what, I know obviously Baron Corbin won this one, but imagine what it could do for someone like Chad Gable, who is like a great wrestler. If he could, you know, have a few matches to navigate, even if he loses in the final, but like in one evening, that would just look
to WWE's credit, they have brought back the Worlds Collide tournament and brought in the Worlds Collide tournament where they are kind of dabbing their toes into tournament wrestling. And yeah, I think kind of with the expanded roster that they've now got, it's only more likely that that's going to come back at some point soon in a big way.
Yeah. You just think when you've got awful pay-per-views such as, well, I can't even remember, what's the, like Fastlane and Great Balls of Fire. No, just these nondescript pay-per-views that mean nothing. I mean, I was watching the Natural Progression series the other night on Progress. And that was a 3-hour tournament. And it was great because you just see there's so much narrative within the tournament, but then you can also have stuff like ongoing storylines can sort of get interjected into matches, and then you get new stories, new feuds getting set up. This is
the thing that New Japan do so well as well, is that they're very good at kind of creating wrestling into a sporting environment by doing these tournaments.
Yeah. So that would be good. What about the live in-match promos as well? Do you think they're quite cool? I mean, Brett's wasn't very good on the mic, but having the picture-in-picture during the matches, that was kind of interesting.
I liked it. I like them sort of going back to the locker rooms. Oh, what do you think of this match? How are you going to progress through the tournament? I kind of thought it was kind of cool.
I prefer that to them sort of standing at the side trying to look at a TV and just nodding while they're watching their, would-be opponents. Like, that just looks naff, whereas just having them, being interviewed while it's going on is much, much better, because we can assume they're looking at a TV. We don't actually have to see them seeing a TV.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's true. We know how you watch wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of interviews kind of in the match. Like, I want to watch the match for the match and then kind of have the reactions afterwards.
It was quite a nice sort of distraction from the matches that were happening. Sam, what did you learn? You mentioned something earlier.
Yeah, bring back time limits.
Yeah.
AEW
are doing it.
Yeah, I think they're just really good.
Okay. You had a time limit to that answer, clearly. So, Brett, anything for you?
No, just what's already been said, really. The tournament, tournament in a pay-per-view, I much prefer than like a strung out tournament over so many weeks of Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly. Just to be able to sit and watch it in one sitting is.
I wouldn't mind cool. Like a massive like 64-person tournament where they do it over a series of weeks and then do like from the quarterfinals onwards on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, or that sort of leads into more like a league and then a playoff.
Hold on a second. Have we just forgotten the Best of the World tournament?
Oh, shit.
That happened, didn't it? And that was a pay-per-view.
Shit.
Where did that happen?
Was it a pay-per-view?
Where did it happen?
Was it Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, it doesn't
Never happened.
Never happened. Okay, good. And also, the ramifications from that went on for far too long. Oh, dear.
But, this is something that kind of currently Baron Corbin could actually take away from his current kind of victory of King of the Ring. Like, The Rock said it best, like, just because he's won King of the Ring, don't literally act like a king for ages, because that's just such a tried and tested and poor gimmick. Like,
it works well on Corbin though. I like it.
No, be like Brett. Don't be like Corbin.
Okay, if there's one takeaway from this paper.
Public service announcement from Sammy Andrews.
John, did you learn anything before we move on to ratings?
No, but I was going to say tournaments. But I actually quite liked the sort of noise of the crowd. Like the general sort of hubbub.
And generally excited for finishes as well. One of the first round matches, there was like a near fall in the crowd, like, and this was really on, and it wasn't like a long match or anything. It was quite a short one, but they were well in for. They were like, oh no.
Well, I also thought the sound of the canvas, the ring, like. it was so loud when anybody would do a little stamp or somebody would get slammed. It just had a completely different sound to rings these days, like a really classic retro sound. Yes, good. Okay, so let's move on then. The final category is, of course, rating. We're each going to give the pay-per-view a score out of 10, work out the average, see how it compares to other pay-per-views. Brett, as you picked it, do you want to go first?
So, as much as I'd love to go higher with this because of the Hitman,
yeah,
overall, it's getting a 6 purely because of the Hitman.
Wow.
The rest of it was really not great at all.
Thanks so much, Brett. John?
I quite liked all of it, so I'll go for a 7.
Quite liked all of it. Okay.
Wow.
Sam?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, other than kind of Bret the Hitman Hart, it's forgettable. About 5.
Okay. I'm going to go for a 6 as well, you know.
Nice. That's what I was hoping you'd do, because that makes it a lovely 6 out of 10.
Oh, nice. I think that's fair. I think we're all going to remember it as the Bret the Hitman Hart pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And pretty much forget everything else.
Yeah. There was
6.
good nostalgia for the people that are in it, but didn't really deliver on many fronts.
So WWF King of the Ring 1993 nestles nicely in between WCW Wrestle War 92, which got a 5.7.
Ooh.
And WWE SummerSlam 2018, which got a 6.2.
God damn.
Yeah. So yeah, very nice. There we go. Thank you very much, Brett, for picking it, I think. It's my turn to pick the next rewind, and I'm probably just going to Google top 10 pay-per-views of all time and then just pick one of them, because I think we need to watch something fucking amazing.
Wasn't your last one WrestleMania X7?
Yeah.
You set yourself a high bar.
Well, exactly. But I absolutely love watching that. There were so many great moments. So.
Yeah, you're going to come back and actually decide Mr. Nanny or something, aren't you?
No. We've done our film. Although old Mr. Beerface, who we spoke about last week, he very nearly came on this podcast to have his appearance after doing so well at the live show.
And then he got that Saudi money and he stopped us.
He's actually playing football. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm playing football. I was like, okay, fine. But he was saying he'd be well up for getting involved in any films or documentaries, because he loves all that. But we'll see. And maybe we'll just stop mentioning him and never invite him on. But yeah, I'll pick something decent. But we'll have to wait a few weeks for that. That's the end of the review. And after this quick sting, we'll be back with Sam's new segment again.
Five forever. Oh, we're out of sync. Five forever. We're fucking nailing this, guys. Keep going. Five forever.
Awful. Worse than last week.
We got there in the end. 5 Forever, the new segment for Hardest Part of the Ring, where we look back at the week and pick our top 5 performers from any promotion other than Lana and Lashley in their hotel room.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God. God.
Here we go, guys. Number 5, Bayley. New heel look, new entrance music, and a title. So it's a big opportunity for her.
Yeah, I loved her smashing up her buddies.
Yeah,
There must have been some children crying in the audience.
No.
It's really interesting because, like, she wasn't getting anywhere with her current gimmick, with her former gimmick, and now she's kind of had this Becky Lynch metamorphosis style moment, and well, it'll be sink or swim for her, really, won't it?
Yeah.
I think she should have gone more extreme with the haircut. Like literally, like I thought last week when we had that close up of her at Hell in a Cell that she was just going to chop off her ponytail, and I think she should have done a Britney.
Cool.
They should have filmed her backstage doing a Britney and shaved her head.
Skinhead.
100%. Yeah, but I'm excited to see where they go with her now, because like they've pulled the trigger, and they've put everything in her favour. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Number 4, Darby Allin, the current number 1 AEW contender. He's almost certain to lose, but it's been a revelation so far for AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah. After his match last Wednesday, I went on Pro Wrestling Tees to try and find a t-shirt, but he's only got 2 and they're both shit.
Brett, get on it. Brett, get in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's got such a sick finish as well. I love the coffin drop.
Oh, it looks so painful, that.
It's so good.
Where he came down the ramp in AEW on the skateboard.
I can't believe I've been watching wrestling for like 20 years and never seen that.
No. Oh, it's so cool. I like him so much.
That whole segment at the end of AEW it just kept on getting better and better. It's like, this is great. This is great. Really oh my God, this is so good. Really fun.
Yeah. And number 3, Lio Rush. Huge push for him in the Cruiserweight division after an extended absence. And he's bringing a real energy to the show, isn't he? All his matches so far have been really good. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be doing, to be honest.
Quick thoughts on the newly titled, what was it, NXT Cruiserweight Championship?
Yeah.
So it's 205 done now?
It's winding
I think
up,
it's winding down, isn't it?
Or down, that's correct.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it's interesting. I think kind of Lio Rush as the face of the Cruiserweight division, he's got skills on the mic and he's got skills in the ring, so
yeah.
Good. Number 2, Private Party. So last week's Dynamite, for my money, Private Party versus Young Bucks was the match of the night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely excellent, and kind of really helping to hammer home the point that AEW's focus on tag team wrestling isn't just like an afterthought. It's really, it's got a lot of focus in it. That match, the whole thing was excellent.
Yeah. And it's a big win, putting
huge.
them over for the Young Bucks. I mean, I know they don't need it, but this is their show and they are the best. And
I think that was a really kind of great decision from the Young Bucks and AEW, because like it would have been very easy for Young Bucks to go over in the first round and then lose to the next.
Exactly.
They come up against. Going out in the first round really kind of gives a good statement and
opens it wide up.
Absolutely, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Number 1, Jushin Thunder Liger.
Old school.
Nice.
Old school indeed. So 2019 is the year of the Liger retirement tour, and his match with Suzuki today at King of Pro Wrestling was one of the most emotionally charged, stiffest and satisfying I've seen this year. I know kind of Liger matches, they can be a bit like, let's take him out back already. This one wasn't that. It was an absolutely excellent match that I would genuinely recommend to anyone.
Oh, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, that was today. Amazing. You watched that today?
That was today. I watched that at work whilst ignoring my job.
Brilliant. Fantastic commitment to the podcast, Sam. Much
and that
appreciated.
Was 5 Forever.
5 4. Oh, no. Okay, that is it for this week. Thank you very much, Sam, for that. Thank you, Brett and John, as well, for just creating a wonderful atmosphere on the podcast yet again. This has gone weird. Next week, we don't have any plans.
Yay, no plans.
Are we due a week off? It feels too soon.
It does feel too soon. So, we like to try and string together at least 3 podcasts in a row before we have a break. So we'll be back. We'll be back with something. It might be just a genuine roundup. I mean, we've been talking in our WhatsApp group about desperately wanting to just talk about AEW and NXT, and it would be lovely to just review those 2 shows. But the problem with that is, if we record, we usually record on a Monday or a Tuesday, and we're talking about the previous week, it gets released on a Wednesday, and then it's out of date. So, what do? Do you watch it all on a Thursday, record on a Friday? That's not going to work. So basically, we're not going to be able to do it.
Do we do a rewind of Smackville?
Ooh.
No.
Probably worth reappraisal, don't you think, with recent events? It's worth going back.
No way. But we'll think of something. It could be that we do a top 5. It could be that we do something to do with the draft. I was thinking it's been 6 months since we did the draft. Maybe we do a halfway through the year little catch up and look at how our picks are getting on. That could be interesting. But if you want to know what we're going to be doing, keep an eye on our social media. Brett, you've got the info on that?
Yes, they can email us at hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. Get us on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter via @hardestpartpod, and check out our shop, which is hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com.
Lovely jubbly. Thank you very much to everybody for listening and downloading. Something I haven't mentioned for ages, if you leave us a review on iTunes, leave us a star rating and a review, and then send us a screenshot on Twitter or email or any of those other things, we will send you some Hardest Part of the Ring stickers, and they are shinies. Okay, they're not any stickers. If you go on the Big Cartel, you will see the stickers we're talking about. We'll send you some of them if you leave us a review, so please do that. Until next week, when we'll be back with some kind of podcast, it is goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye, Sam.
Sam out.
God, always something with you, Sam. It's always quality. John, goodbye.
I've got nothing. Yeah, goodbye. I've got nothing. Sorry.
Brett, goodbye.
Goodbye.
You guys let me down there.
That was the Hardest Part of the Ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest